think today is maybe about three things. And the number one is each and every one of us, starting with you and I, because we're the hosts of the show. I would say it's about us sharing our stories, our perspective, whatever we have.
Right.
But my goodness, I certainly don't want to act like anywhere near some sort of foremost expert on Willie Mays and never got to see him play. We're going to bring some people on, Bob Costas, Danny Glover. We're going to bring on some people who have a very, very unique perspective on this, and more. There will be others, and they'll share their stories. But I think the third thing this is about is you. It's you doing that. It's you sharing your stories. 888-957-9570. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. No story, no perspective is too small, because you're listening to two people who never saw him play. Willie was retired before I had a breath on this earth.
Right.
Yet I love the player. I love the man. I love the team. I love the effervescence. I love everything about all of it. And I've learned as much as I can through the years. I know there's so much more to go. So I almost felt jealous when Steiny said, gosh, such great calls today, and I learned so much. I hope that continues throughout the afternoon. And as we take air, the Giants have lost to the Cubs by a final of 6-5. FP Santangelo is going to come on in a little bit. He became close with Willie in recent years. We'd love to hear from all of you. 888-957-9570 with the great Say Hey Kid passing away yesterday at age 93.
And one of the things I learned today is that Willie Mays is the all-time leader in visitor home runs at Wrigley Field.
Oh.
And, that's
I just learned that when you said it.
The Andy Baggerly piece that he put out on The Athletic, I think included that factoid. And so you start to think about all the great things that Willie Mays did. And we all know about 660 home runs and the thought that he is the greatest player of all time. When you start to really poke through the details, the minutia of exactly what he did in his career. And I was listening a little bit to the game yesterday on the drive home, and John Miller and company played the highlight of him scoring from first on a bunt from Willie McCovey.
I heard it.
And it's, Russ Hodges on the call. It is so ridiculous.
It still doesn't make sense.
But the shift was on, and I didn't realize they had the shift in 1961 or whenever it was.
Who was running the analytics department back then?
Nobody.
Crazy.
And McCovey with a push bunt that goes for a double, and Willie's on the move. Hey, he's got to score. And it just, the idea of that, and you close your eyes and you can picture Willie Mays, and we all talk about 5 tools, and then you watch all these clips and all these highlights, and you realize that there really is no one in this modern game even close to him.
No.
I mean, Mike Trout would have been, if he was healthy, probably the guy in my mind, might have been the closest, but Willie's running, hitting with power, fielding and throwing. He's one of one.
Well, I agree with you completely there, and I do not want to, by any stretch, diminish this part of it. This is just me, like what I've been thinking about the last 24 hours, the last 20 hours is a lot less about stats or the baseball player, is just so much bigger than that. I don't want to brush that off. We've all watched whatever highlights we can, learned whatever stories we can, listen to those who watched him play, and I have absolutely no hesitation in agreeing with you that this was pound for pound and eye for eye, the best person that's ever played the game of baseball. I'm with all of that said, I'm even more enamored with, and I don't even, it's too small to even just say the person. I'm just more enamored with the story, the effect he had on other people, all of the achievements, both on and off the field. And I am flat addicted to people who show that kind of joy and get an opportunity to share it with the public. I'm just addicted to that. I think it's the best thing that can happen to anybody in life, is to have a talent or a gift or a job that you just can't wait to get to and you look and feel like a kid out there, I hope there is just one fraction of 1% of that sound on our show every day, because I love what I do. And a lot of us here, we're in a job that is somewhat easy to love. And Willie maybe had that more than anyone that I've ever seen or listened to. It does make me think of Steph Curry.
Yeah.
It may, like, Willie Mays makes me think of Steph Curry. And it's way too early to say that, but I do think that one of the reasons Steph has the footprint that he does is that. Like, every damn day he shows up and makes people feel so happy that there's no price on that.
Right.
That's the best stuff in the world.
On the court, off the court, in the community, abroad, in Africa, with his wife, supporting her, father of 4, all the rest of it. And you look at Willie and the way he comported himself in his 80s, in his 90s, as an ambassador, as somebody who was thrilled to be connected with the Giants, even though his playing days had ended 50 years ago, literally 1973. So 51 years ago is when he hung it up. Yet between then and now, he continued to be an ambassador and a representative, not only of the Giants, but of baseball as well.
If you've met Willie, if you saw Willie play, if you were inspired by the documentary, if you feel a certain way, Dibs, I have heard about more people crying in the last 20 hours who never even met the man. Never met the man.
Right.
Hell, I'm one of them. I barely got through the legal ID at 6 o'clock last night.
Yep.
I never even got to meet Willie. He's been in the next room at the ballpark, here, there, whatever. I've never shook the man's hand. I never got to speak to the man. But my God, what a profound effect on my fandom he has had. If you have anything that you would like to share with regard to Willie Mays, fire away. That's what we want to do today. 888-957-9570. And I'll share just the quickest little thing that I was able to share last night with you. But because this all came together very quickly and at the end of our day at 6 o'clock, and we ended up staying on the air for an extra half hour to talk it out, it is one of the first things that comes to my mind. My love of this sport is not just from going to Candlestick Park when I was a kid, which I was lucky enough to do a lot. My parents cared about it and took me there a lot. But the sport as a whole and playing Little League Baseball was wrapped up in a love of larger-than-life figures, these baseball players. I was obsessed with Will Clark as a teenager. And prior to that, I was in my front yard trying to mimic Chili Davis's stance from both sides of the plate.
Right, both sides.
Switch hitter. And his leg was a little bit in front. His right leg was in front of his left when he was hitting from the left side, but they were a little bit more lined up from the right side. Like, I watched this stuff. And these are the people that really got me into the game. But what got me there first was a present from a family member when I turned, I don't even know what. Call it 6 or 7 or 8 years old. And a present that I was given, which was 2 boxed up, framed, and just beautiful old vintage baseball cards. And one was Willie McCovey and one was Willie Mays. And just holding those in my hand and how that just felt like, to me right now, it feels like childhood. To look at these 2 little cards and think, these 2 men they're just that. They're larger than life. And my love of this game and my love of this team was born that day. And so Willie Mays and Willie McCovey, both of whom I never saw play at a game live, both of them have that attachment for me. And I'm thankful for that to both of them.
Yeah, and just the iconic nature of both of them, and especially Willie Mays with this franchise, and symbolic with the move from New York. And that was obviously way before most of us were even alive. But just growing up, you knew about Willie, and you watch Willie McCovey if you're maybe my age, or I think he retired in 1980. I was 12, so I do remember going to Candlestick and watching Willie McCovey and watching him hit a couple into the football bleachers and right, and you're thinking, oh my, this is the guy. And I was raised to know that this is the guy. And there was another Willie that came before him, Willie Mays, who was even more the guy. And you learn about the history of, the World Series where Willie lines out and ends it on a line drive, the 1962, I think, when they would have won the World Series. And so you go back and you learn all the history of it. And then you listen to a guy like Butcher Boy yesterday, who he called in the show after us with Grandy and Evan. And he spent about 15 minutes kind of working his way through it and talking about what it meant to his father and his grandfather, who's still with us. And Joe Shasky's dad died about 6 months ago. And so it brought up all those feelings again for Joe, for Butcher Boy, about his dad. And I texted him earlier and just, sent my condolences again because, these things make you feel a certain way. And just hearing that Willie Mays passes reminds me of my dad, who would be about the same age as Willie. My dad would be 89 right now, which, God, I wish my dad was still here, but he's been gone so long. And you think about your dad every day. And when something like this happens, it definitely reminds you of those days and being a kid. And like you said, a couple of baseball cards turned you into a Giants fan forever.
Think about that. That's what you just said. That's what's on my mind today.
Right.
Think about what a gift it would be to wake up, go to work every day, have a gift or a talent or a skill set or something like that is so profound that all you do, you just go do you. You just go, Willie just went and played baseball.
Just go hit line drives.
Willie was not like, you know what I'm going to go do today? I'm going to make grown men cry about their dad 80 years from now. No, he just was an incredibly gifted athlete and had the power that Willie McCovey also had, that Steph Curry has, and George Kittle has. And we could go through all of, they smile. The love of what they're doing is just so clear to see. They have an effect on others. That's what I'm talking about. For someone to live their entire life and simply do what they do, and it has such a profound effect that almost 100 years later, you're making people all over the Bay Area and potentially all over the world, certainly all over the country, think about their dad, their mom, whoever raised them, whoever brought them to their first baseball game. What an incredible power, what an incredible effect to have on other people. And I think Willie was aware of that, and it's why Willie acted the way he acted throughout retirement. I was reading about his 90th birthday celebration, which came just as we were coming out of COVID.
Yeah.
And let's just be real. From a physical standpoint, Willie was not doing well. Willie could barely walk. Willie could barely see. And so these things were not easy. To get down to a baseball field and shake hands and wave to people as they cheer, that becomes very difficult. But here comes a bucket of baseballs and a Sharpie that gets stuck right in front of Willie. And what does he do? I can only imagine if I were 90 years old and I could barely see and barely walk, wouldn't most of us just be like, Sonny, get this out? I just want to go lay down.
Exactly.
Willie picks up the pen and just starts signing because he's so damn thankful, even though he got put through hell sometimes.
Right.
A lot of times. That, to me, I don't know what you could say better about a human being than that. That's just, that's what we all want. Don't we all want in the end to just be that happy, be that thankful, even though there were all the moments that felt like hell?
Right.
That's just eyes on the prize. I love that. I love that about this man.
Well, and to still do it all the way, like you said, into your 93rd birthday and 93 and beyond. And still he releases a statement about 4 days ago talking about the Rickwood game in Birmingham that he unfortunately is not going to be able to attend. And he gives you reasons why, and he gives you perspective on what it was like to play there and how much it means to him. Even at 93, 2 days or 3 days before he eventually passes away, he's still giving you great perspective on how great of an event this is. He's still giving back to the game, even though he's 3 or 4 days away from dying.
We want to hear from you. As I said, really, really want to open up for everybody to share. I called this morning to make an orthodontic appointment for my daughter. and right there on the line. I don't know if she's listening, but hi, Leanna. Leanna, who I've got 2 kids now that have had braces here in the last 3 or 4 years, so I've gotten to know the people at the front desk at the orthodontic office.
Cash me out one time.
More than one time, but yes.
Thank you. She knows what we do for a living, so she takes the appointment down and goes, hey, before you hang up. And she just wanted to talk about Willie Mays, and she said she got home from work last night and her husband's in tears, and
Wow.
just right,
Yeah.
like this. I sat there on the phone with her for another 5 to 7 minutes because I'm like, I could do this all day.
Yeah.
Just want to listen to people talk and share, and I think it's so healing and just wonderful to just get it out.
Yeah.
Get it out.
And it's so representative of so many things for so many people. It's, whether or not your parents told you as a kid about Willie Mays, or you're old enough to remember watching Willie Mays, or you're younger and you met Willie Mays, or you see Willie Mays, or heck, maybe you met your wife at Willie Mays Plaza. Right. And, you happen to meet a group of people there and you looked over and there's a young woman and you happen to strike up a conversation and now you're in love. And next thing you know, you're both Giants fans and now you're married and you met at Willie Mays Plaza. There's so many different ways that Willie Mays could touch people.
And that will also be forever, by the way.
Right.
Everybody in this city, if you've ever been to a game, you know damn well what it means when I say, meet you at Willie Mays.
That's right.
Everybody knows
Third and King.
Exactly what that means.
You go to Third and King and there's 4,000 people and there's pictures and you're milling about and there's groups and there's happenings and it's definitely the place to go.
It's kind of funny because everybody wants to meet you at Willie Mays, which makes it very difficult to meet you at Willie Mays.
No doubt.
But we're going to keep doing it for the rest of our lives. Let's go to Big Smooth in Oakland with Willard and Dibs. Hey, Big Smooth, thanks for calling.
Hey, thanks for the platform.
Of course.
So thank you guys for that. Yeah, I just. It just brought back memories as a kid running into Willie Mays at the airport, and just him being so gracious, and asking us questions. Where are we from? What are you? Just never forgetting that. Simply because he was just right there. We're talking. He's talking to us, and it was great. And then also, that dynastic run of the A's from 72 to 74, so three in a row. Who does that anymore? And I just recall the 73 series against the Mets, and they were making a big deal out of this being Willie Mays' last year. Of course, the A's had to put that whooping on him, which is, as an A's fan, that's what you wanted. But I just remember them focusing on Willie Mays. I think he only got in the game one time to pinch run for Rusty Staub. But just always remembering that, and just my personal encounter. It wasn't from the television. It was just him having a conversation. So that just remembering how nice he was, and the fact that he even took a moment to ask us questions, and then the way he died, like they were going to honor him for this upcoming game and against the Cardinals. And look at this, the same day. I think I heard a statement from him the day before saying that a statement put out from him saying, I think he said in the statement, you know what, I wish I was there, but I don't get around that good anymore. I remember just reading that yesterday. I believe before I even heard he died.
That is correct, Big Smooth. This man did an interview about 48 hours ago.
48 hours ago, and I know he said, I don't move around that good anymore. Yep. You know what? All of us are getting older at some point, either now or back then. We don't get around so good, but it sounds like it just hearing him talk about that, or the writing of it, it seemed like it was just yesterday to him. Him roaming around in that park. And you know what? Good job to MLB, because MLB hasn't really been kind to African-American baseball players in the fact that they have, these were some of the best baseball players there were. And to have them make that gesture, whether it means anything to anybody, I'm sure it means a lot more to people like Willie Mays and others, because it wasn't just Jackie Robinson. He was probably not even the best ball player of the lot. But you know what? The fact that the MLB is trying to do something, hopefully we can reach out to this next generation of American-born baseball players, African-American players, and we could kind of come up with something that would make the game more attractive. Everybody's going to football, basketball. So anyway, thank you guys for the opportunity. I certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, Big Smooth.
Thank you, Big
Thank you
Smooth.
very much. Appreciate that.
Well
yeah.
said.
I'm thankful. I don't know to what level this resonated with him or whatever. I know that he won't, quote unquote, see the game tomorrow.
Right.
But he was aware of it. You know what I mean? Like he got to the point. I bet this did mean a lot to him. He certainly expressed that it did. Like he got to a point where the world is acknowledging Juneteenth. He got to a point where the world and Major League Baseball are going to play a game at Rickwood Field largely in his honor and the honor of others who went through that field and went through that time. He got to a point where stats from the Negro Leagues were accepted into the Major League Baseball books. Like he got to see all of that. Wow, what an achievement.
Yeah.
He started that. He started those things, and they happened on some level before his passing. So I imagine that Willie Mays, that huge smile that he always flashed, I imagined it was still on his face as he took his last breath.
Without a doubt, yeah. And I think just the idea of it happening this week, right before Rickwood, and there's a certain amount of completion you feel at 93 to go through your whole life, and like you said, and you put it very well, all the things that he went through from coming up as a baseball player in the 40s to what baseball is now in 2024. And there's a game at Rickwood and all the other things that have gone on, not only in baseball, but in the world. There's a feeling of completion for Willie Mays, I would imagine, to know that he was more than a small part of what's gone on in society.
We want to continue to hear from you.